Alright, welcome back guys, and we are at our match point. It's 1-1 Evos Valkyrie and Close Behind Esports. Pretty much jumping into pick and ban already. We do see some of the bans coming out from Evos Valkyrie. They're going to be on blue side again, so this time it's going to be the Galio Kled banned out. Meanwhile, Fiddlesticks Lucian, and if history has shown us anything, it's going to be the Urgot last ban from CBE.
Yep, as well as the Aatrox, very likely from the side of Evos. I mean, you're talking about game point. This is such a crucial series and game for both of these teams because the winner is going to go straight into the grand finals later today. They're going to play another best of 3 series versus a team Asterix. That's going to be a tough one, whereas the loser of this game is going to play a best of 1 versus Bars Esports for that 3rd and 4th placing. So definitely both these teams, they're going to want to try really hard to make it into that grand final.
They finally banned out the Lissandra, which is something that I think
finally
has been a crucial point for you in the mid lane, getting the Yorick for themselves. Not really sure how that's going to match up against the Renekton that is left open for Deserpit.
Yep, and I like how you talked about Lissandra because I was just thinking earlier in game number 2 that Evos very clearly have been tunneling in onto the Lissandra Kai'Sa Veigar composition, and every single team has just been letting them play that. They've played that, what, 3 games so far at the FSL Elite. So finally we're going to see the target ban of the Lissandra. However, I think we were talking about this before game 1. Yue does have other champions in her wheelhouse. However, the Galio has been banned from their side. So you're going to be looking to play a very safe mid laner pickup for this one. There are champions. There's the Orianna that is going to still be open.
I've seen a lot of Syndra play this time in FSL Elite, so I'm not sure if that might be an option for her. Of course, Syndra's one of those champions with a high margin for error. If you can't land the combos or you can't land the skill shots, it might be a bit tricky. So, there you go, locking that in. But early picking it as well is a bit tricky because this leaves you open to a variety of counter picks that might make her more uncomfortable in the mid lane.
Yep, and the fact that they picked the Syndra is just showing that I'm not too sure if they're still going to be picking up the Kai'Sa Veigar. I feel as if Evos Valkyrie are very comfortable playing that, so they might likely pick it up. However, Syndra Kai'Sa Veigar doesn't really have as much synergy as what they've been playing previously. However, the Jarvan is a good
I like
pick.
this adaptation because the Jarvan means that Sivir is no longer a viable option in the bot lane just because of the nature of how the matchup works. In team fights, if you use On the Hunt, your immediate response is to just Cataclysm the frontline flag and drag out, and then they can't advance onto you anymore. So this is a executive decision that's been made to sort of reply against the Kai'Sa. We might see it come into effect here after the Kai'Sa, or rather the Sivir has been locked in.
Yep, right now we're into the 2nd ban phase. Should expect a lot of AD priority, possibly the Tristana ban that we'll be seeing. Kalista from the side of CBE, since they've already picked up the Sivir, and Evos gonna be hurting pretty hard to pick up their bottom lane right now.
If you are Evos here, you want to ban out the sort of support pool that can affect your bot lane more. We saw how that Sivir Zyra rather was a big part of the victory in the bot lane earlier. This time I think you want to target out the mage and charm. There you go. So target out the mage poke supports in the bot lane to sort of make it more even in this 3rd game.
Yeah, but that's sort of the thing where you're saying in the previous game, the Sivir Braum is a strong lane, Sivir Alistar is a strong lane, it will pair well, and there's the Braum that's going to be banned as well. So not that many options left for the side of CBE.
Either Thresh or Alistar here to sort of complement the composition, and then in response, what Evos can do is take Xayah and the other one.
I would actually love to see a Pyke pickup, but I don't think we've really seen that in the FSL just yet. Oh, Nautilus kind of functions in the same sort of way as the Nautilus, as the Thresh and the Pyke. So it's going to be pretty viable just in terms of them trying to get picks. I haven't yet picked a mid laner, so I'm thinking perhaps something roam heavy towards the mid lane would be a good complement for them together with the potential from the Naut.
The reason why they're saving the last pick is because they know that Syndra is open. It's definitely going mid, so they want to counter pick mid lane. Locking in the Tristana signals to me that they want to play an aggressive bot lane that wants to push up. So in this case, a Thresh or something that can reply to Nala's engage will be good. Alistar also on the table, but Vidal is not known to play these tanky, engage, disengage supports. She'll probably be going for a mage here. I won't be surprised if she locks in something like a Nami or Soraka, like Lulu as well.
There's
Also
a
functions
Lulu.
similar in the sense of disengaging, but also being a mage as well.
Yep, I was considering something like a Tam Kench, but it's not really something that we've
No, no.
actually seen.
No one plays Tam Kenshin like this tournament.
Yep,
It's just
we
not
haven't
even an
seen it
option.
in the
No Tam Kench,
FSL.
no Tam Kenshin, no
So the
Ezreal.
Lulu would have been Lulu Nami was going to be a lot more likely, but I did consider it, especially against a support such as the Nautilus. But Tristana Lulu, of course, it's going to be a strong lane, and there's the Orianna that we were
Interesting,
thinking would be
okay.
a pick-up.
This is a bit greedy,
Wow.
I think, because Orianna traditionally has a very bad matchup into Syndra just because of how the wave clear is so efficient from
Yep.
Syndra. She can use the Qs on the move. So you really position very well in lane. And
Yep.
to force the all-ins, the level 3, level 2 is insane from Jarvan Syndra.
Yep, exactly. And also kind of the way that the lanes where Orianna has an advantage, the way she wants to play well in her lane is when she is able to use her passive and get those auto attacks down for that extra damage. The thing is, versus a Syndra, you can't do that because the second you miss position against a Syndra,
Yeah.
it's pretty much you're dead or you're going to be chunked 1/3 to half of your health at the early levels. And you're talking about there's a Jarvan on their side. There is the potential for the level 3, the level 4 all-in with the Ignite from this Syndra
Pound
as
for pound,
well.
though, if you look at the lanes, top lane in favor of CBE, jungle in favor of Evos, mid lane in favor of Evos, and bot lane is pretty much a split. You will see a lot of pushing back and forth. I don't think we would expect much skirmishing, especially because Evos went for the barrier heal, whereas if you're going to push up, you want to be safe, barrier heal is the fine option.
Yep, I'm actually pretty excited for this one just because we're seeing a bit of a shakeup, especially from the side of Evos. They're really departing from what they've been comfortable playing for the entire FSL Elite Tournament. They're going for a very team fight focused composition, right? With the Syndra, with the Tristana, the Jarvan. Generally, when teams kind of pick the Syndra, there is a just kind of ups the level of difficulty in terms of execution. But I do think that Evos will be able to execute that fairly well. However, on the side of CBE, they also have a very strong team fighting potential with Sejuani, Renekton, Orianna.
Classic wombo combo composition. You
exactly.
Get Renekton into the backline by flanking. We saw Deserve did that pretty well by jumping into the backline a couple times the previous game, and then have Sivir use On the Hunt to sort of run them down. You know,
yep, there's so many options for the Orianna ball at this point. There's the Renekton flank, as you mentioned. There's also the Nautilus hook in with the ball. Absolutely devastating. So I think that for this game, it's pretty much going to come down to execution from both these squads because they have such strong team fight potential. However, there's also the possibility that Evos snowballed the early game and use that to get ahead.
I want to see Jarvan start on the red side and move top to sort of compensate for the disadvantage that Yorick has. At least, you know, execute an early gank to burn a summoner spell and make that lane even. If she can do that, I think Killer TT might be able to bring the playing field a bit more level on the top side and then allow bot lane to just do bot lane things, you know.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually that Disrepet was allowed to once again play that Renekton, especially after that game at number 2 showing. I'm surprised that wasn't immediately banned out in the first stage of the bans. And the fact that Disrepet has shown that no matter what she plays, I mean, she was the one who played the Yorick into the Renekton in that first game and came out ahead with the gold lead. And right now she's playing the reverse matchup. I mean, she had such a good showing on the Renekton in that game at number 2. I'm sure she knows this matchup herself. So as you mentioned, Jarvan very likely going to want to try to impact top to help keep that Renekton from going absolutely monstrous like game 2.
Yeah, guys, we're going to cut to the last time. I think we might, no, well, it's a bit premature to say last time, but for this series at least, the last time you see the video for this series of both teams. great. Jenny emulating the...
I said it before, I'll say it again. I'll never get tired of looking at those videos. I mean, they're so well shot.
They did come in a day early, I believe they shoot.
2 days, I think, yeah, for their media day.
It's pretty
It's
good.
pretty cool.
Paid off pretty well. Those are some...
I agree.
Anything, right? They get the
high
hype,
production quality.
you get the hyped videos to bring back with you. Spawning on the Rift for the third game of this series. It's gonna be Evos Valkyrie on the blue side, and on the red it's gonna be CBE close behind Esports, the representatives of Vietnam, and well, they were invited here based on their performance in their own domestic leagues, whereas close behind Esports, the Thai representatives, they had to play their way through qualifiers, and it was an uphill battle. Made it here, and now they're looking to at least advance into the finals if they can.
Yep, and looks like Evos, unlike game 1 and 2, going to go for a much more defensive
No more
start.
cheese.
No more cheese. Down to the line, where it counts, they're going to play it safe. Just what we like to see. I mean, we love to see that level 1 cheese, but high risk sometimes doesn't pay off, as we've seen over the years. So Evos Valkyrie opting to play that one a bit more safe. Some pings going down. I believe they will be warded the river and topside.
Right, we're expecting to see the river ward come in at 120. Slightly earlier is the Jarvan ward, but this is the reason why teams do this is because they want to see how the pathing evolves from the level 1 into the camp, into the crab. So with that information, it's going to give you full knowledge of how and when the scuttle crab has been taken, so you can adjust your route accordingly.
Yep, and there you had it on your screen, Scooter TT. As you were saying, wanting him to start on the red side and slowly path his way up towards the top. Both bottom lanes giving very good leashes to their junglers in the bottom side of the map.
You can tell that the priority is topside because she went from rip buff into the Raptors instead of rip buff into Krugs. Normally you do rip buff into Krugs if you want to go crab and then topside, so this time she's sort of showing her hand. Wants the priority to be on the top side now, going for the crab in the bottom lane.
Ooh, and Sejuani's going to a Wolves, so there's no chance at all for CBE to spot this one out. We did notice over in the bottom lane earlier where we once again took that Q at level 1. I was wondering if you were going to say anything about it. I felt like you were tilted. Wasn't sure if I should bring it up, but yet I did.
There's no, how do I put this? There's no drawback just because they're already in a melee support versus range support matchup. Hold on, Simon Ping walking in here. It's gonna get tagged up. Auto attack, no, the flash away! Killer TT caught staring at the shop but not looking because the immediate response from Simon Ping to get out was good enough. We were saying that level 2 is potent, well, not if you're caught sleeping.
Wow, but I mean, getting the flash from the Orianna is pretty crucial in itself. I mean, Orianna has that flash and barrier, so still has one more defensive spell up her sleeve for the return gank, but you know that return gank is definitely going to be coming. One thing we didn't manage to talk about in the last stages of the pick and ban, Syndra didn't actually opt to take the Ignite. She's gone for the more defensive cleanse. However, she does have Electrocute, so there's definitely still a very strong burst potential combo since Jarvan is also running Electrocute.
Mid lane, a bit of trades going down. Simon Ping taking a bit of damage. I think the stun came through and connected.
Both laners very low on mana, however, at this point.
So the trick here is that Simon Ping has the minion dematerializer, so she's going to be fine just shoving the wave out. Meanwhile, bot lane spell shield came out a bit too late for Riri. She's going to have to flash out. A heal steal available will be used, and without flashing for it to sort of be bloodthirsty and claim the kill, but to no effect.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 summoner spells on either side. On the side of Evos, Tristana, Camille did use the barrier, Vidal did use the flash, I think pretty aggressively. Whereas on the side of Rary is going to be both her summoner spells down. So these are 2 for 2, however, both of them on the Sivir. It's going to make it a bit more dangerous. Also, since Johnny is still level 4, not really close to the level 6 mark. Don't really see her helping out, but she is pathing towards top side. But Jarvan camping
like
mid lane.
Jarvan sitting in the mid lane, Sejuani at the top side. EQ coming in, no mana. She's going to get popped and stunned as well. And the first blood should be going the way of UA, claimed by the Vietnamese mid laner. First time blew the flash, second time's the charm, and now they're looking to activate something on the top side in response.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the Jarvan opposite jungle pickup, because usually you want to run something such as a Cleanse versus a Syndra, but Cleanse doesn't really save you in the Jarvan
Dark
matchup.
Procession came up a bit too late. The stun perfectly chained here. One more attack will do it to conquer enough, and that's what we were talking about, the accessible passive activation. because your W counts as 3 auto attacks, you pretty much proc it instantly when you go in with Renekton, go in together with Sejuani.
And Desperate already with the CS lead up top, 37 to 27 at the 5-minute mark, and with the extra kill, going to head back to base, pick up that very nice Tiamat for himself, and you can just sense it, Hungry, that this lane is not going to get any easier for Max.
Remember in the pregame I said that you want the Jarvan to path topside to cover this lane because she focused the mid lane, giving UA a bit more advantage. That gank was bound to happen, it was bound to come. I think Max didn't read the situation well enough and overextended. She thought she could go in after she landed the morning mist. Meanwhile, bot lane, the hook landing,
Teleport.
but a bit of a delay. Jump is going to get her out to safety. Vidal with the nullifying orb should survive for a second and not a second longer. Kamihyo flashing out, so multiple summer spells were blown there from both sides, but this should be Ocean Drake being picked up and an early Ocean Drake to boot.
Really early dragon. The thing, one thing that I've been noticing, I feel as if Vidal could improve on her positioning. I feel this game, especially just from what we've seen in the last 5 minutes. The thing with playing the Lulu, of course, is you're very squishy. You're no longer playing that Veigar. You don't really have a get out of jail free card that you used to have. But with the Veigar, with the E, usually if you get ganked, you see 3 members coming at you, just drop the E, you just walk away. You don't have that option anymore as a Lulu. You need to be really careful about your positioning because one misstep just means that you're going to get blown out.
And they're not respecting the fact that Nautilus can go in so quickly. Or top lane, Dominus is available. She's going to pop it. This should be an all-in coming through. Flashing away from the Dark Procession. The wall is going to do absolutely jack as Maiden of the Mist is going to fall and give a bit more gold over to CBE. The top lane, 3-0 and 0.
Desperate, man. What a monster. Just coming out strong, showing Max, you know what? I can play both sides of this Yorick Renekton matchup and still win. That's insane.
Saw this before in the previous game. History might just repeat itself here, Jenny.
Deja vu.
Deja vu. Blue buff going to be handed over to Salmon Pink, and off the other side, it hasn't really spawned just yet. So Orianna will get hers. No last chapter means there's no mana, so no mana regeneration. So that blue buff is gonna be sorely welcome.
Yep, Salmon Pink going off of the previous game's goodwill when she was 3-1 on the Galio, telling the jungler, I still deserve this.
If you're a true mid laner, you know that blue buff belongs to mid. You just lend it to the jungle on the first clear.
So do Raptors. Sometimes Gromp.
Oh man. That's a bit too much.
I'm that type of mid laner.
Red buff will be claimed here by Killer TT. A bit of a slow clear, I would have to think. She did path towards the top side first and then down to the bot.
Yep, she does have the level 6 crucially at this point, so she's going to pick up Red, very likely go back to base and buy. Oh, it looks like she's pathing towards mid instead.
Has the Call of Duty Warhammer for additional damage. Nope, just going to be greedy for another clear.
Orianna,
and then base after that.
Yep, base, pick up your items.
She needs the challenging smite, or at least the chilling smite, I believe, here to make the gang more successful.
Yeah, she's probably really close in gold, which is why she went for the Raptors despite being low health and low mana. But the thing that we saw in response to Killer TT being pretty deep in her own jungle was a very good response from both Salmon Pink as well as Lovely Teams, both of them taking the opportunity. You look at your bot side mini-map, placing those deep wards in the jungle, just constantly making sure. It's just something that we've been so impressed by CBE this entire series, is the fact that they know when to get very good vision to set up for their next objectives in the next 1 or 2 minutes.
Pathing towards the top side is Saba Blue. She wants to get some vision down. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, a good network of wards has been put down by Vidal at least. You can see all entrances and exits have been spotted out. Sweeper will be used to detect that ward, and Pink's already down. Looking to challenge this EQ out. Killer TT not really going to fight this. Glacial Prison missing might be a window in for them. Using the passive here and getting the smite steal away is the jungle of CBE. Now they're backing off, happy with that one take.
Wow, so CBE essentially, they're trading the Glacial Prison in exchange for the blue buff steal, which isn't all that bad. Just because Renekton is already 3-0, he already has such a big lead over in the top side. Salmon Pink also, meanwhile, has already been handed the blue buff of her own. So CBE are coming out on top of this with blue buff on both jungle as well as mid.
Coming in for the gank, Killer TT has Cataclysm, but not in range to EQ and out. Means this gank is going to be an unfortunate failure. Meanwhile, the mid lane, a lot of damage onto UA. She had to blow her cleanse and flash as well. So it was a shockwave that connected from Salmon Pink that made the expenditure happen. Meanwhile, we see Jarvan just hovering on the river, pings onto the top side. The Serpent chasing forward down. Might have bitten more than she can chew. Main of the miss, mid lane solo kill coming in. We want to focus top lane now though. As the EQ comes in, the Cataclysm, the Goomba Stomp to finish it off. 2 big kills across the board, mid lane and top side, and bounties claimed respectively.
Yep, that's going to be 600 gold in the pocket of Killer TT. Already ahead over Seba Blue in terms of the jungle. Would have been nice to give it over to Max, but they're not going to complain about the extra 600 gold in their pocket. Also, the Death Timer and the Teleport not being up for Dissipate means that he's going to be losing that lane push over in the top side.
Yeah, but meanwhile, bot lane kill did come in for Kamiho, I believe. She used the explosive or the Buster Shot to get the execution on that. So that's going to be Lovely Tunes falling. And a small lead accrued in the bottom side of the map for the AD carry of the Vietnamese representatives. Kamiho now.
Whew, you say small lead, but that's like 30 CS at 10 minutes.
It's a crit cloak though, so in these small, auto attack traits, it could be pretty good for her depending on whether RNG is in her favor.
Killer TT putting down the wards, showing up. Salmon Pink as well. Just a lot of vision over down in the river. Of course, First Dragon was taken earlier by the side of CBE. So really is just preparing for the next dragon. Won't be up all of that soon. Vidal
Vision has been extremely routine for the bottom side. Vidal has been walking out every so often to put the wards down. Make sure that this lane is safe, and it's been paying off because you saw that they got the kill earlier on.
Yep, they want to make something happen over here in bot. If they do get the kill, it's almost definitely going to be translated into the Inferno Dragon.
Yeah.
TT has his ultimate available.
I think there was a bit of a visual bug on the map. She didn't really walk out. They're waiting for them to extend past the river. I think that's the signal for Killer TT to go all in. Jumping forward, using the E to get the damage down. It's going to pop eventually. Here comes the teleport. I think it's Deserpit that's going to be arriving with the flank. A great depth charge onto Vidal and a poke back in. Wildgrowth is going to deny the slice and dice, and the EQ back in to return this fight around. Killer TT falls in response, so it's a 1 kill apiece. They're kiting back. Damage is still pretty good. She's jumping in, getting the kill. Can she get the reset out? Not enough mana at this point, so it's going to be a 2-for-2 trade. I say that. She's going to get out just in time.
Here
flashing
comes
forward. Maybe not the best decision there. She was bound to die either way, I have to say. Overall, it's going to be a 2-for-1 trade. Deserpit falls, but so does Killer TT and Kamiho. Now the Dragon is up with the man advantage.
Yep, and with the arrival of both the mid laners, just means that they're going to back up off of the bottom lane, but CBE are going to 3-man and start off the Inferno. Drake is going to be traded by pressure over in the top side from Evos, as Max is hard pushing into the top lane because of Deserped's teleport into the bottom lane. Max, of course, didn't have teleport available for her while all that was going on in bot, which is why CB had the initial man advantage. But we are going to have a short pause right now as we try to figure out what's going on with the team computers.
There are some technical issues that we're looking to figure out. Hopefully we can resolve that soon. I believe it was something to do with a mouse or a keyboard. Not particularly sure just yet.
Yeah, we're live at the venue. We heard some loud shouts from one of the booths from one side of the team. So we knew something was up there. Trying to get that fixed right now. Trying to get that fixed as quickly as possible for you guys back home.
Fingers crossed that it would be resolved soon. I think we might be switching back to us, so maybe we might be staying in game. Particularly unsure, but
yeah, I think just got away from production. It's a monitor issue from one of the teams. So looking to get that fixed.
If you guys hear chewing on stream, is because Jenny's eating pizza, courtesy of
Domino's.
Domino's. Yeah.
One of our sponsors of the FSL Elite. They've kindly sponsored us pizzas for the last 2 days. Hey, I haven't eaten today, and this pizza is good. All right.
Yeah, maybe you want to show the camera, show off the pizza. There are olives on that, so not a big fan. I'm sorry. Honestly, it looks pretty good, but I'm gonna have to pass.
Don't expose me like this.
Gonna have to pass.
Hungry is gonna wait till the end of the series before he eats lunch.
Don't forget, guys, we do have quite a stacked day today. After this, the winner is gonna proceed into the finals to play against Asterix, and the losers will be playing the 3rd and 4th placing for some. Probably you could think of it as consolation money, like a bit of a cash for them to spend.
Of course,
tonight.
I mean, there's a combined prize pool of 2,500.
Right,
I think for all the 4 teams today is going to be split amongst first, second, third, and fourth. So there's definitely still something to play for. Not just pride, also money. It's going to be a sweet cash prize for these teams. They definitely do want to prove themselves against each other. But I think more so than that, I mean, it's just for a lot of these girls, for a lot of these teams, it's one of their first competitions, especially overseas.
I mean, you were talking about
them.
the interviews, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's a great opportunity for them. I think when we were interviewing some of the girls on the media day as well, just asking them, you know, like, what are your takeaways, what are your aspirations to the future and stuff. And a lot of them, they do want to seriously be professional gamers in the future, regardless of their gender. And I think that the FSL is just a really great opportunity for them to get a feel of what professional gaming is like, playing with a team, just traveling overseas. It's such a good experience for them.
And with this being the 3rd year of FSL locally, but the first time we're doing the FSL Elite, I'm looking forward to this happening more often and having more teams and more nations involved, because it just makes the overall quality more interesting. I like the analogy is like when there's a bigger pool and a bigger bigger pond rather, there are more fish that can occupy, and as a result it becomes more competitive.
Exactly. I mean, we've got Riku over here who's casting who casted early in the morning, casting the later games earlier. I mean, yesterday she was hard rooting for Varsity Esports, her home team, the Philippines team, and us here, 2 of us from Singapore, bias casters.
Hashtag bias casters.
Bias casters. No shame, man. Asterisks.
Sure we do have, you know, supporters from the respective countries here, you know, the hashtag Evos win, hashtag CBE win. Throw the flags up in the chat, guys.
Yep. And guys, we've got good news. We are back into the game. We fixed all our monitor issues. We can come back with CBE taking that very easy Inferno Dragon. There was that attempt to steal from the Syndra from Yue over behind the Dragon Pit, but to no avail. CBE picked that one up.
To recap, the reason they could get that Dragon was because they got a 2-for-1 trade in the bottom side, deserved it, teleported down, made things happen, Renekton doing Renekton things, and with the man advantage, they got their free objective. 2 Drakes in their pocket now, still behind with the gold, so a bit unfortunate there. But they should look to equalize this in a couple of seconds as the top lane is pushing down to get some plates. 500 behind as the deficit close behind. Said this yesterday, like their name would suggest, never really too far behind.
Yeah, I mean, Eva's Valkyrie at this point, they've got the very slight gold advantage, only about 500 gold. But the thing is, Saber Blue has just now picked up a 450 bounty of her own, which is pretty scary, especially as the early stage of Sejuani, because you're so squishy pretty much. You can't expect to die at least half the time when you're going for the gank. You're trying to sacrifice yourself for your laners to get a hit as pretty much the early game Sejuani. So the fact that she's the only one on the team with the bounty right now, despite being down in gold just in terms of jungle versus jungle. She's done about 200 behind the Jarvan. It's going to be pretty scary right now. Talking about Jarvan, KRTT going for the 14-minute Rift Herald right here. Max trying to hard push the top lane so no one notices this.
Exactly. She's using the ultimate to push out the lane to get priority, but it should be tricky here because a random Yorick ulting is usually a sign of some sneaky moves being made. Ward over the wall should be able to spot this, and now they've regained control here. They're pinging this one down. Yue has made the journey up. A Smite should be able to secure this for himself. I think Max might have overextended on the top side. They're going in onto her. Glacial Prison landing, and now a bit more damage off the back as well. Great Scatter of the Week to disengage. Might be pincered here as we see Salmon Ping walking up the river. No, they take the exit right and go back into the jungle. So a free and well planned out objective claim. The Rift Herald in the pocket of the jungler here.
Really good timing. KRTT did pick up the Rift Herald buff, I believe. Not sure if they handed blue. Yep, did just hand over blue to US. So pretty good timing. Wave is going to get pushed in a bit, but should be able to get this wave pretty easily. Oh, misses that stun onto Salmon Pink.
Yeah, this is a
taking
window.
So much damage.
Whenever you miss a stun, it's a window for Orianna to try and all-in you.
Exactly.
You can see how aggressive she's playing, just moving forward and...
Yep, she's got her command shockwave. Oh, just used it.
Didn't use the flash though, so I think it was just used to expand.
US probably just insta-cleansed it. Yeah. She doesn't have her cleanse anymore, but it is pretty worth it. I mean, the shockwave is going to come up before the cleanse does, and Vidal right here, flanking from the side. KRTT, don't think he can make this happen though. Yep, it's going to get slowed down. Very nice by
I was about to say,
W.
Orianna still had her barrier, still had her flash,
exactly.
So there was really no cause for worry in the mid lane there. KRTT coming in just to sort of show that she is
I mean, Killer TT had the option to, you know, flash Cataclysm in, but then you're expending so much, and you might not even get the kill onto the Orianna. So just decided it's not worth it right now. Saber Blue and Killer TT both at the bottom lane.
Yeah, they're matching the walk in here, and with the Rift Herald being channeled here, it should mean that bot tier 1 is going to go down. Of course, Tristana, the demolition expert. I think the Rift Herald was just for not really impactful. Walking down the lane still. That's going to equalize the turret gap and the goalie as well.
This was not the best timing or the best spot to lay down the Shelly. I don't think she's not even going to be able to get one tower hit down before she dies. So a bit of a wasted Rift Herald, especially considering how much Evos put into picking that up in the first place.
There was a solo kill in the mid lane from Sam and Ping. She used the barrier as well as flash, but she did get the kill out of Yue. Meanwhile, the Syndra still having her own flash, so a bit of a misplay coming in and a capitalization coming from the mid laner of CBE as well.
Yeah, but even with that kill, Evos Valkyrie are still slightly ahead in goal. I think most of it is probably due to the CS difference over in the bot side. Right now, Saber Blue trying
I don't think she wants to fight this. Using the Dark Procession to keep her locked in place.
Wow,
Dredge
flash
line
from Not.
Not really catching either, and Disperate coming in with the stunner. Wild Growth to knock 2 members back and flag and drag out. See you later, not want to fight this. Backing right out. Good call by CB to press the matter, but overall, with the disengaged tools available from the Lulu, they can't really get anything done.
Yeah, a bit of a wasted flash, I want to say, from the Nautilus. Did look a bit aggressive. I think what they really just wanted to do was chase Max off of the tower and then be comfortable with that rather than try and chase too far. But flash not being out for Not, it's not a big deal.
More importantly, there's no On the Hunt, there's no Glacial Prison, and Dragon is up, so this should go the way of Evos Valkyrie, considering all the big ticket elements have been expanded on an attempt in the mid lane. They could still look to contest this because Shockwave is largely the crucial key fight tool that they want to have up. Instead, no, it's going to go the way of Evos Valkyrie without contest. Get the Ocean Drake for themselves. Finally, the first Drake of the game for the Vietnamese side.
Yeah, I mean, Evos do have some tools, as you talked about, the Command Shockwave. It's pretty much one of the biggest. Oh, wow. As we say that, catches out Killer TT. Force the flash out.
Flag and drag, but their dredge line is good to connect, and Sam and Pink gets the kill credit for that. Deserve it with the flash in and the stun as well. Poop. Immediately pops her. Oh, man. Caught my tongue there for a bit. It's going to be mid tier 1 taken down. So surprising that they would overextend, and like you called out, Vidal's positioning has been quite suspect this game thus far.
Yeah, what an engage from Disperate. Knew exactly the limitations of the Renekton. Knew she could flash and get the burst, get the insta-kill onto the members of Evos Valkyrie. And with that, CBR going to be hard pushing the mid-side tier 2. Looks like they're going to want to disengage from this one. So Evos come out of that with the Dragon, but lose their mid-side tier 1 and 2 members in the process.
Things are looking a bit dire here for Evos, the second seed coming into semi-finals today. They're down by about 1,000 gold, but this is a composition that needs to at least go even in the mid-game if they want to team fight well.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, they're the ones who picked the Syndra very early on. Second picked it in the pick and ban phase. Not too sure if it's been entirely working out for them. Syndra's one of those champions. I mean, you don't really want her to fall behind, especially come the late game. She will always have the stun, so that's some form of a utility for the fight. But you're going to want her to be dishing out assassin level damage because when you look at the rest of the squad, without the Syndra, there's really only the Tristana who's going to be the hyper carry towards the late game. And you kind of lack a true tank on your squad.
And speaking of the Tristana, look at the item gap right now. Sivir not yet completing the Infinity Edge because of the shortened laning phase early on, and Riri and Lovely Tunes having a bad day in the bot lane now means that the item spikes will be much more delayed in these team fights. They'll be looking towards that Infinity Edge 0 item spike before they can even start the team fight, I believe. Pings onto the river. They're looking to contest this Scuttle Crab. But man advantage belonging in favor of Evos right now as the recall is coming through for Sivir, but nope, still going to be taken away by CBE.
Yep, teleports available from both Max and Desert Pet. Just split pushing in the bottom lane. matching each other's push. But right here, looks like CBE has that slight priority over around the river. Vidal, a bit dangerous positioning.
Yeah.
As the Lulu, though, there is always your W to speed yourself up, make your get into the enemy jungle, lay those wards down, and swiftly get back out. But still a bit dicey.
I'm a bit concerned because they're looking to push this top lane. You could see there that Kamiho was extended, but there's no good vision around the area allowing her to extend so far. As a result, this demolition expert, the Tristana, can't really get any chip damage done onto these turrets. And until they secure the vision, until they know where the enemy is pathing towards, there's no way they can make use of this rapid fire cannon power spike Tristana.
Exactly. It's a bit of a wasted, as you were talking about, opportunity. Tristana is one of her power spikes right now, kind of the one half Zeal, i.e. item point, but Evos aren't able to capitalize on that with all the waves being pushed in against them. Salmon Pink right now speeding herself up with the W, trying to get that catch onto Vidal. Did have the command Shockwave, would have been devastating, I think, if she'd managed to actually land it onto the Lulu. CBR content for now to just be split pushing over in the top side.
And story of the game still, not enough vision in the jungle means that CBE can just walk this one in. They're looking for the setup. They're outside of the brush though. Killer TT has the flag and drag out. Maybe a bit of a visual bug there. Nevertheless, the wave is going to get cleared out, but the siege is being set up right now by CBE. They know that they have the ability to press the matter in the top side.
Yup, and pretty much all the key ultimates from all 10 members are up. This next fight could be crucial.
Flank coming in from Killer TT. They're looking for the angle onto Riri. She takes a turret shot. Might just be the thing that sets this one off. Remember, On the Hunt is available, and so is the Glacial Prison. There are multiple tools right now for CBE to choose and pick the fights they want. Ball being positioned forward aggressively as well as another thing, and Deserpit with the damage down. Jeez, it's starting to hurt, but the trade across from Max is pretty decent as well. Positioning aggressively off the side in the flank. A great stun onto the Orianna, and they have to take this fight. A counter engage through though is pretty good, and meanwhile, they're leaving the backline unattended. It's Riri that's been focused down. They get Kamiho first, and Deserpit was the one that teleported in. Max has arrived as well. Killer TT is one more auto attack away from death. Can she make it out? No, the Dredge line confirms the kill. Saba Blue so tanky through all of this, able to hold the damage in place. A great two-man stun. Yue, one more hit away. They still manage to get out Summoner Eerie, providing the shield. CBE get 3 kills and back out of there. A massive fight. We thought it was Evos that had the lead, but they turned this one around in great fashion off the back of a teleport.
Yeah, what a close fight that was. Killer TT though, just so aggressive. You saw him just Cataclysm flag and drag into the backline. Really wanted to get the execute onto Salmon Pink. You saw here just barely not having enough damage to finish off the Orianna. Instantly flashed into the backside, and Killer T just wanted to execute both the Orianna and the Sivir. Ended up getting jumped on, and I think that was really what lost Evos that fight. Just a bit unnecessary, a bit too much over aggression, and it's something that we've been seeing from Evos Valkyrie in this entire series.
And now with the Banshees fail fought by Salmon Pink, she's going to be less afraid of the scared the weak threat. And posturing around the dragon are both teams. Sweepers activated, they want to clear the vision out. Saba Blue frontlining for her team. She has the Warmocks and she has enough health for that to make it count. The Ghouls do a good deal of damage, and I think they're working in favor of CBE now. Remember, most of the ultimates are available for CBE. The only one not up yet is the On the Hunt. They're looking to steal this away. The Glacial Prison is enough, but they steal the Dragon away, and they flag and drag out Killer TT. The Smite Queen in this game. They make it 2 Ocean Drakes, but in the late game, I'm not sure how much that is going to count for the composition, because remember, this is a team fight comp versus a team fight comp. They're going to have to look to reset if they want to make it work. Banshees will not really doing all to dissuade the engage.
I mean, a dragon's a dragon.
Right.
Evos are going to be happy with what they can get. The double Ocean Dragon is really going to help champions such as Yue right now. Doesn't have the blue buff, as well as Kamiho and the Vidal. But right now, CBE very easily pushing at the mid-side tier 2. They're going to back off from this one. Very likely just going to get some extra vision down in the top side jungle, as well as around the Baron Pit. Oh, they're wrapping around to the mid-tier 2.
Yeah, take
Evos,
a look at your
however,
mini-map. There's no vision available for Evos here. If they want to walk in, they're going to have to face check this. They only have one control ward where Max is standing on, so this is a bit tricky for them.
Oh, Vidal. I'm so nervous for that, Lulu.
Gotta go fast on the hunt use. They're jumping onto Max. She uses the eulogy of the Isle to buy some space for herself, but they know the target is gonna be the Yorick now. It's a bit of a split fight. Call your targets, girls, because they are going onto UA right now. They pop the mid laner for Evos and they move on to the backline. Deserve is doing so much work. There's Shockwave catching two. This might go the way of CBE. I say that they're jumping back, Kamiho jumping into two, using the Buster shot to disengage. Dredgeline finds Kiro TT, and yes, it's gonna go the way of the Thai squad. The Shockwave was just too good there. Deserve charging up the stun, flashing away is the AD carry for the Vietnamese side. It's a 2-for-4 trade overall, and CBE walking it in now.
Wow, that was such a close fight. Kamiho very nearly were able to turn that around. I think CBE, you mentioned it, in the middle of the team fight, I don't think they were focusing on their targets well enough. They pretty much left Tristana free reign in about the first 3/4 of that fight to just free hit entirely. It looked like the fight might go the way of Evos, but then the rest of the members just dropping like flies. You saw them giving up their lives for Kamiho, Killer TT, especially right now. Respawns are back.
Yeah, it's not even 30 minutes yet as we see Kamiho moving in aggressively. She has to pop the barrier, wants to get the reset. Shockwave is going to do just a little bit of damage. Remember, Salmon Ping very low mana, but they choose to go the other way, giving the Orianna a way out without any danger. Pings onto the Baron now because they know that they have 5 men strong versus the 4 of CBE. Clearing the wards out is the first priority. The second will be establishing control of the area. I want to point out, at this point, they have to make a very important decision. Are they going to go for the Baron, or are they going to turn and take the fight after? If they all move into the pit, it might be looking like they want to finish this off.
This is really dangerous. Evos are behind. They're not going to be able to burn the Baron fast enough. Here comes
Sabah Blue has
CBE.
the smite, has the explosive cone, and has the Arctic Assault to get into the pit as well. Look, all 5 members are positioned into the pit. They look like they want to finish this one out. Sabah Blue looking for the steal. She goes in with the Arctic Assault, has been knocked away, but she gets the steal. How do they do this? And now the fight after that. Kamiho turning the tables onto this fight, jumping out, kiting back. Salmon Ping with the QW might not be enough. They have to win this fight. Otherwise, the Baron is not going to be enough. Now they're turning this on to the AD carry. Kamiho somehow making it out. She jumps out. Deserve turning this fight around. The Renekton is just a force of nature. They're moving in. Sabah Blue, the last member alive. Lovely Tunes trying to kite this one out for her team. UA still untouched. Eventually, Evos Esports, they lose the Baron, but they win the fight. Flashing out the Dark Procession, not really tagging this one up enough. Dredgeline getting her out. The only member with the Baron alive. The only member to stay alive with the buff. It's gonna be the Nautilus. A consolation prize, but a prize nonetheless.
What an absolutely ridiculous Baron fight that was, Hungry. You were talking about it. I mean, Evos lose the Baron, but getting 4 members on the squad of CB means that only Lovely Tunes is the one with that Baron buff, and that's not really going to mean all that much because as a support, you're not really going to have a lot of opportunity to go into the side lanes and or roam around and make use of the Baron buff. You're pretty much going to be forcing your team to stick with you if you want to utilize that buff. So Evos making that happen, we weren't too sure because it looked like they weren't going to be able to burn the Baron down fast enough. They were 5,000 down in gold before that fight started. We were wondering, they don't have damage, they're not going to be able to burn it down, and CB could have the collapse on that. I mean, we saw earlier, Orianna, she's one of those champions where you don't want to be against her in the Baron pit or in the Dragon pit because that Shockwave is such a powerful tool, but Evos managed to make it happen for them.
We have a bit of a technical issue if you realize by your screen being paused. It's the top laner for Evos, Max, that wants to sort of rectify her mouse. I think we should be jumping the game soon as we can see things being patched up on our end. I just want to take stock of the situation after that very prolonged and massive fight. You mentioned Lovely Tunes got the Baron, yes, but the goal lead is also in favor of CBE after that massive fight. It's mostly centered on Deserve like we expected, and like I called out, the Renekton is a force of nature in these fights. She's just massive, and if you want to win these crucial team fights, you really have to buy space for Kamiho and deal with Deserve first. Scare of the week is going to be crucial here. We're going to have to pay attention to whether UA can land these clutch skill shots. Like I said earlier as well, high margin for error, but high payoff. If you want to roll the dice and you want to win this series, this is the best time to do it. Scare of the week on UA, roll the dice, hit a crit, and hopefully win the fight off that.
Yep, and what a series we are witnessing, guys. Game 1 ending in that base race. Game 2 with that Renekton going absolutely ham. And this Game 3, it's still too close to call, I think. It's still only 4,000 gold at the 29-minute mark. I mean, guys, if you're watching this from home and you want to get in on some of the action, we're going to be here for, I think, a couple more hours, I think, till evening at least. After this series ends, we're going to be playing the third, fourth match.
10-3 now. After this, we do have the third, fourth. Like you mentioned, it's going to be a best of one, and then following that, it will be our best of 3 finals between Asterix, the Singaporean representatives, versus the winner of this series, which has yet to be determined. We are in the midst of seeing who's going to advance forward, but either way, I'm excited about the finals. Our attention should be paid to the semis for now, as we see both teams posturing around this dragon. Vision is in favor of CBE. They have full knowledge of this because of the Scuttle Crab Killer TT walking it in. She's going to get caught out by Zerp on the side. This is not what you want when your jungler has to be alive for the dragon take. They back off in time still. Dark Procession holding up the choke point. Maiden of the Mist being used to dissuade that. And it's going to be an Inferno Drake picked up by CBE. It's not the end of the world just yet because this isn't exactly the Elder. It's just an Inferno. But soon after this, the next dragon to be spawned will be the Elder Drake. And that's the timer that might spell doom for either team.
It's not, I don't think it's as significant just because most of the games I think we've seen here in FSL, we haven't actually seen them play out long enough for the Elder to make a difference. However, in this game, I think with the Tristana versus the Sivir, there is definitely that potential of that happening for this one. And if the Elder Dragon is taken, CBE, they're sitting on 3 dragons right now. They already have the double Inferno. Once they get the Elder, that's good. Their team fight is potential is going to be nuts.
Sivir that has Ricochet, so you do true damage on each bounce, and like you said, mad damage on the table if they can get that. But for now, they're walking this down mid lane. Mid inhibitor has respawned for the Vietnamese side. Evos are looking to set up the defense here. CBE walking in, rapid fire kind of has been proc. They're getting the mid inhibitor very low. The Scare of the Weak not really finding its target, so this means that CBE can just walk away after taking the objective for themselves. Now turning their sights towards the bot lane. Desert is getting bot tier 2. Coming with the flank. Max was a bit out of position, but she backed off wisely, using the Morning Mist to get a bit of CC down, but they're backing off, looking to reset this. The Baron buff is still up. Remember, there's one member alive with it, and it's going to be Loothley Tunes. As long as the Nautilus is still standing together with them, the push is going to come through. Getting the flag in, the drag soon will follow if they want to go in. Ghouls jumping forward. They're trying to get some space onto this. The Baron eventually will time out, and with that, the siege in the bottom side. So they're going to reset. But advantage getting in the mid lane with the inhibitor falling.
Yeah, but that Baron buff putting in so much work, as you've just seen. Of course, the Baron empowered a cannon. Minion isn't able to be targeted by the tower, the bottom tower's range. Kamiho does have the static shift RFC, so Evos at this point just really trying to make use of Tristana's wave clear, get the shiv procs into the back of the minion line. It's pretty much their hope in terms of how to turtle out this game so far. I mean, talking a lot about the Syndra pick. When you have a Syndra who's behind and you have CBE with Baron buff pushing in towards you, there's really not all that much Evos can do. I mean, sure, you can try and stun, as you just see on your screen right there, but then you can't afford to follow up because you're behind in goal. You go in, you're just going to get instantly blown up. So Evos did a good job of really just turtling and waiting out the Baron buff.
It's just the nature of the matchup. It's such that, you know, Syndra being immobile, you don't want to walk up because depth charge, dredge line, there's so many tools that CBE can use to lock you down. A minute and a half on the Baron, and the bait is being set up by CBE. Remember, once more, the weakness of Evos has been that they failed to establish vision around this Baron pit time and time again, and it's really been their downfall. We only see 2 wards right now in the top half. One in the river, one in the lane and one in the jungle. Edging forward is the Yorick leading the charge. Deserved sitting on a control ward, and another one in front to bait this one out. If they walk forward, it just might be certain doom as they get caught out. Flashing out. There's a big ticket ultimate. It has been expanded. The depth charge is the second one that has been used. No shockwave, no depth charge, and no on the hunt as well.
No,
this is a nightmare for CBE.
I mean, they were just so antsy on that one. They tried to pull the trigger onto Max of all the people. I mean, if you're going to expend all those 3 ultimates onto one member of Evos, don't let it be Yorick. Come on.
This has bought so much time for Evos now because of all these ultimates going down. They have to base, they have to reset, they have to clear the bot wave out, and things just got a bit better for Evos. The door has opened a bit more. Previously it was almost slammed shut, but now there's a light at the end of the tunnel. They can play for this. They can look to set up vision and reset and maybe make the bait set the trap for themselves.
Yeah, but this might just be the turnaround that Evos are going to need in this game. CBE collapsing around the Baron pit. However, Evos don't think they want to start this one out. Just content to drop some vision down and leave. Pretty much whichever team starts this is likely going to lose the fight.
Now look at the ward right there across the wall. It's very important that the ward stays up because as long as Deserp can teleport into that when the Baron is up, she can get the massive flank down onto Kamiho. But right now both teams backing off, giving away control of this pit is Evos. They are giving away the vision. Looking to reset this, backing off as well. The mid lane is getting pushed in, of course, with the super minions. It's a bit to be expected. Max in the bot lane on wave clear duty as well.
Yeah, one thing to note, Seven Pink a couple minutes earlier did manage to complete her Banshee's Veil.
It was the death cap.
Yeah, she just completed her death cap, but earlier she was really only running on the Ludens as well as the Banshee, so kind of lacking a bit in that burst, but really just wanting to stay alive as long as possible because you're looking at the squishy targets on the side of CBE. It's going to be the Sivir, it's going to be the Orianna. They don't want to get hit by the Syndra stun. They have one get out of jail free card, Max, right now.
Checking this, but they don't have the Renekton and they don't have the Sivir nearby. The ward behind the wall is still crucial, though. You can see it's sitting in the pixel brush where Yorick is standing over. That's the entry point. Like our observer is showing us, that's the entry point that Deserp is going to use. I think this is a great pincer that they could look to execute if they want to.
Renekton does have teleport, but looks like he wants to hard push in the bottom side inhibitor tower instead. Recall's coming out from Evos. Oh, lovely tunes.
Using the Dark Procession to back this choke off and not allow them to move forward. They use the Eulogy of the Isles, the Maiden of the Mist out of Glacial Prison on the front. The Shockwave catching tree! This might defy that CBE won. They can turn this one around. Here comes the teleport from Deserp. Is it too little too late though? Because Kamiho has already gotten one. Moving back, hiding out of the fight. They already lose a single member across and Kamiho is still kiting back and forth. Deserp teleporting into the fight means there's an immediate impact. A great scare of the week to disengage. Kamiho with the Buster Shot as well. It's a 1-for-1 trade support for top lane and that's the best case scenario for Evos. Caught with the pens down. Baron is going to go the way of CBE. A massive, massive shockwave to start the fight and gotta go fast. Gotta land these shockwaves is the theme now for CBE.
I mean, props to Evos at this point as well. Credit where credit is due. They saw that Disreped wasn't anywhere around. They knew that he was split pushing over in the inhibitor over in the bot side. And I think that Evos were kind of using that as a bait because they knew that that was the best opportunity they had to start the fight off 5v4. They're kind of trying to tell CB, you know, we might give up our bottom side inhibitor, but then we want to win this team fight. So you saw Disreped, not sure if he wanted to keep pushing in or if he wanted to help his team, but the arrival of Disreped into that team fight just really sealed the deal for CBE because Evos can't fight when the Renekton is around.
Tell a lie, the last dragon that's going to be taken is the Air Drake, so it's 3 apiece, which does imply that the Elder Drake would be, although better in the side of CBE, equally as stacked for Evos. The combat stats from the Infernos though is the one that's really making this hurt. The 5k goal lead on the board is the concrete one, but the additional percentage damage in the form of AP and AD is starting to take its toll. Mid lane push, running it down. Glacial Prison is going to catch the Syndra, but there's no follow-up. Where's the follow-up? They use a big ultimate. There's no on the hunt being used just yet. They're content with taking mid inhibitor after the expenditure of the Glacial Prison. Now turning their attention towards the bot lane. UA very low, has to back off the heal, and this is a free inhibitor as well. Great calls being made by CBE. They look like the more decisive team, and they're reaping the rewards of that fight.
CBE with so much restraint. I think a lot of lesser teams might try to convert that into the game-ending push for them, but they're going to back off. They're going to play this one out safely and slowly rotate over towards the top side of tier 2. Pick this one up, have all 3 lanes, or 2 lanes, pushing in their favor before they seal the deal.
Yeah.
We could be looking at the game-ending push, Hungry.
Seal the deal is right. The last inhibitor falling is going to be very, very difficult for them. A great stun in might have just baited them in. The Eulogy of the Owls, a great shockwave catching too, and that eviscerates the front line. Now they're jumping on the back. Deserp leading the charge. The point woman for her team. UA very, very low using the stone plate is Saba Blue, tanking up the damage. Inhibitor taking a whole buttload of damage off the back of that, and this should be game with a man advantage. CBE kiting back, resetting. She still has the GA, so Deserp is going to fall here. Setting up the guard, not wanting to go down just yet. They get the macro lead in the sense of having 3 inhibitors down, so they reset and back off.
And the CBE girls, they can smell the victory. What an absolute story for them. Also, I mean, this entire weekend for FSL Elite for them, they started off the group stages down 2 games. They went 0-2. I believe they actually lost to Evos Valkyrie during the round robin yesterday, and they managed to pick themselves up off of that 0-2. They had that very strong game at number 6 showing versus Barca Esports, had that very solid, clean victory. And I think ever since then, they've just been riding on that momentum into today.
I remember that coming into this, Barca, or rather CBE, with the lower seeds, we said this multiple times, and for it to be a 2-1 series, we weren't too surprised, but the fact that it is this close, you know, literally one team fight away from winning the game, for either team in fact, is a testament to how close they are in skill gap, but also how the FSL has really found these representatives that aren't too big in skill gaps as well.
Yep, and CBE now with all 3 lanes pushing in their favor. This is it, Hungry Evos need a miracle to happen.
Running forward on the hunt, not just used yet, I tell a lie, they really immediately pop UA, and this should be the fight moving forward in their favor. Just leading the charge is deserved. She has absolutely no fear because she knows that anything happens, my team has my back. Walking it in, a lot of damage still from Kamiho. She doesn't have the last whisper just yet, so she's doing minute damage to all these tanks with chunks of armor on them. Bit of a misposition coming from UA, and the substitute mid laner not having a good tournament thus far. Unfortunate but expected coming in. The true mid laner, the one they've been playing with all the time, hasn't made it in for the tournament, so UA doing her best to stand in. But credit where credit is due. CBE with the shot calling definitely on point. Looking to close this game out methodically with double Nexus turrets falling now. One last stand is on the table for Evos. Immediately popped this without EQ back into the base. They're jumping out. Don't think they can make this fight happen for them. And the Nexus turret taking the last few hits as CBE will be progressing into the finals and closing this one out 2-1. A hard-fought and uphill victory for the Thai representatives facing Asterix in our final best of 3 at the end of the day.
What a series, Hungry Cast. We expected a 2-1, but that series absolutely delivered. The base race that Renekton, this game number 3, just back and forth. They had it all. Everything you want to see in League of Legends was just shown in the last 3 hours. Of course, props to Close Behind Esports. As you mentioned, they're going to be facing off against Asterix later in the day. However, Evos Valkyrie, our direct from Vietnam, will be immediately playing in the 3rd, 4th placing match against Barca Esports. Of course, the girls will kind of need to recover from this series. I think get their mentality in order. Take a second. I know it was difficult in that series for them, but just take a step back, breathe, and now you're facing a whole different team. It's a whole different ball game, and just try and do your best in that 3rd, 4th match.
On the other side of the coin as well, CBE riding on an extreme high, I believe. You know, when you win these sort of clutch, close series, best of 3s rather, when it's so close and the adrenaline is pumping, I think the break is actually more than what they deserve, because now they can take a step back and say, this is how we won the game. This is what worked for us in our draft, and as long as we play to those qualities, those standards, we might find ourselves pulling a victory, you know, the big W against...
Big W. I mean, I'm expecting Asterix to just straight up ban the Renekton in the finals later on today. But with that, guys, we are going to go for a quick interview with Riku over in the interview corner with Close Behind Esports.
Hey guys, we're here right now with the winners of the semi-finals 2 bracket up against Evos Valkyrie. We've got Close Behind Esports from Thailand. We've got Lovely Tunes and Rary, and as well as Bang, their coach and translator as well. It's been an amazing run for Close Behind. It's not yet over. They're heading over to the finals up against Asterisk later. But first, I have got to ask, yesterday, you guys were defeated by Evos Valkyrie, which makes it twice in a row during the first initial few matches. What did you guys have to improve to finally defeat the Vietnam power team?
So before we came here, we didn't practice any game at all. So yesterday we went to the cafe and practiced for 2 hours.
For 2 hours? You practiced for 2 hours yesterday?
Yes.
That's amazing. The dedication is just really inspiring for you guys. And the 2 hours just got you back up on your feet and it warmed you guys up. And now you guys are at the finals. So moving forward, though, you guys are going up against Asterisk, who's undefeated right now in the whole tournament and as well as FSL as a whole. What are your expectations? What are your expectations up against Asterisk?
ก็คาดหวังว่าทีมต่อไปที่จะเจอเขาหวังจะทำอะไรเตรียมแผนอะไรไว้หรือเปล่าหรือคาดหวังที่จะทำอะไรไหมก็ทีมต่อไปก็บอกว่าจะไม่โยนแล้วก็จะไม่โยน so they say that we didn't want to throw the game anymore
Come again?
we didn't want to throw the game anymore
So that's the plan, not to throw the game anymore. But if I were to ask you, how confident are you guys facing Asterisk later?
มั่นใจปะ a little bit
A little bit confident. All right, I'll take it. I mean, you guys did amazing against Evos Valkyrie, but congratulations once again. Thank you so much for taking the time. Definitely looking forward to your match up against Asterisk later in the finals. But first, before we head on over to that final match, we still got the 3rd and 4th place bracket to play out in a BO1 series. So stick around and don't go away.